Oh, there's the culprit. Yeah, that's pretty nasty. How close can we get that? Yeah. So that's from me trying to put on a Hyper 212X. That's one that wasn't made when AM5 was around. So it fit. But the problem now is I wasn't very careful. So yeah, the plan right now is to try and fix it. These came from the original toolkit, the iFixit one. I think I've stabbed myself more than these have actually been useful, but when you're bending bent pins back into place, like that fineness is kind of what you need. The thinner the better on these. Trying to get these angled ones, these are probably perfect. And then I've got this kind of dirt cheap magnifying glass. One that's stationary over a table would be perfect if you're doing this often. Any magnifying glass will work, honestly. So once again, we're gonna take a look at that. I'm gonna try and get this bent back into shape and we'll see if I can film some of that. I really don't know if I'll be able to fix this, honestly, because it is, yeah, see, the problem is these LGA sockets, or I guess these pinned sockets instead of the CPU being pinned, is they're almost more fragile than they used to be, which is great for CPU manufacturers, except for anyone not buying a 5800X3D, 7800X3D, 9800X3D. For instance, this is going to be a 7700X build. The motherboard costs more, which is wild. Well, not really, this is an ITX board, but... And these are really hard to find as is. Like, this is a B650 board, and I still had to pay 200 bucks for it. Just because it's ITX. People want ITX everything now. Which, understandable. Especially if, like, you used to be a laptop guy and you just kind of need more power. I've actually got another video on the channel, either going up or up already. That'll be kind of talking about that, but hey, you know what? You know? You can see where it happened. Yeah, you can still kind of see where it happened. Right there. Yeah, there we go. You can still see where it happened, but man, that's looking a lot better. And again, all I've been using is, you don't want to grab with these, that's the thing. You just sort of like, poke and you prod and you get it back into place. You do not grab. No, none of that. None of that. I might film the rest of the build just to see how it goes. I'm actually gonna go run to Best Buy real quick and get the new cooler because I'm not doing that again. It's not worth sacrificing a $200 ITX board when I can go get a $25 Hyper 212. Which I don't even know is enough for a 7700X. Don't tell my brother, but you know, yeah. And this is an AS Rock board. Like this is. Let me tell you something. AS Rock is not bougie by any means, but like even when they are bougie, like this is just like, you know what I mean? Well, that's Corsair RAM, but like, this ain't bad. This is a nice little piece of kit. I'm like, I still see the dent. I still see the dent on camera. And I'm sitting here thinking, you know, I could probably go in there and fix it again or keep going at it. But then like I put up the magnifying glass and all the pins are kind of where they need to be. So I think I've done it. Anyway. Oh, back in my day. You know what? I can show you. I can show you. Hold on. Here we go. That. So this is kind of what I'm talking about. This is a Ryzen 5 Pro 3400G. I'm guessing this thing is either used in pre-builds or something like that. I don't know. Wow, AMD 2016. This thing is old. This is like a super ultra budget CPU that I got with integrated graphics for test benches. Honestly, like not bad. It's not a bad CPU. Handled Plutonium, Modern Warfare 2, and Modern Warfare 3 just fine. Probably 60 frames, but the problem is even this one's got bent pins. So you know what? We're unbending more pins. We're gonna unbend more pins here. So again, I'm gonna go in with the magnifying glass. This has bent pins all over. I don't remember what I used this for. It could even have bent off pins. And that's kind of like the point of no return. At that point, go watch Linus Tech Tips or something. I think he's done something like that where you like bend and solder more pins back on the board, but For a $60 CPU for a YouTuber with, oh, that's right, no subscribers, we're gonna give this a shot. Good way to tell if you have bent pins is to sort of like look at it from the side. And if it doesn't kind of like line up, this is bad. This is like a really bad one. I bet if I put it in a socket, it would bend and break the pins. I must have dropped this because this is just real bad. But the thing is with these sturdier pins, the more you bend them, the more likely they are to break. With these in here, I kind of like the pin setup they have in here. They're not even pins. They're like these like flat triangle things that end in a point. And that's where they make contact. And it's really nice actually. I need something to hold the CPU down. I don't know if I can duct tape it. That'd be stupid. I probably shouldn't duct tape it. I can't quite demonstrate it for you. Oh, hey, whoa, hey, I just did it. I got one pin, kind of back where it needs to be. I'm still like looking back at this to make sure I'm not crazy, and I might be crazy. That looks kind of. No, I think I bent all the pins back. I think I'm seeing a little something in there. So I might go back for that later, but right now we're still on Mr. 3400G Pro. That's sort of like the tough part, and the nice part about being everyone's tech support is you kind of have to fix everything yourself, but when you do that, you make a lot less waste and you kind of just collect things. You can also buy broken things, and that stuff can be turned into working things because you have science knowledge. Anyway, I'm kind of just rambling. But yeah, what you're seeing here is I'm actually putting pressure on with my thumb on these pins because these pins are really like, they're rigid. I could do this all day. I wouldn't dream of just like touching that because I don't even know how fragile those things are, and they're springy, and the more you spring them, they kind of like flatten a bit, which again is probably how this happened in the first place, which is fine. Because I think that leads in less RMAs, you know? Return on your mother. It's a lot of the corner ones. I really don't know what happened to the CPU. It's in a plastic AM4 shell that I stole from another CPU. But, you know what? I think I was waiting so long for certain parts, and I was parting out another computer, that I just didn't bother putting it away. Because another nice part about these pins, right, is they're actually just like straight up and down pins. And once you get close enough, you can kind of like slot it into a motherboard and the pins will sort of correct themselves. Because right now they're like, it's got like this wavy pattern to it because most of these pins are pretty bad. What's funny is I did this video because this broke. And this is not mine. This is going into someone else's build. But now that we're on the topic of bent pins, I have so much AM4 stuff coming my way from people wanting to upgrade to AM5 that like, this is going to be kind of nice to have. Because that's the thing what you want with a good test bench CPU is when you're not testing it, I guess, like getting numbers, raw data, it doesn't need to be a good CPU. It just needs to be cheap so you're not like motivated to sell it or people don't want it and you're like, why are you wasting that? And B, it could use integrated graphics because I don't always have a graphics card on hand to test with. And integrated graphics are great because they can also sanity check whether the system's problem is graphics card related or system related. Not that the graphics card is part of the system, you know, part of the ship, part of the crew. You get what I mean. Okay. Oh, yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. Dude, I need my handy dandy little, yeah, see that? That's kind of what I'm looking at here. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything now. Oh, it's because I'm not looking at the right side. Rotate. Well, okay, that's scary. I just moved a pin and it did not need that much force to move, which means, yep, I can see it's kind of already breaking off. That's really sad. Because now we're running into the issue of if this thing falls apart, becomes undone in the CPU, we could have a CPU socket get clogged with a bent off pin. That's no good. Because again, The sockets in the AM4 motherboards are pretty safe because they are not pins. They just have like this like black grid of plastic that you just sort of slot them in. But getting out those pins not only means that you have a broken CPU, but now you got a clogged... There's a piece of like wheat in here. Hold on. Yeah, see that? It's a little bit of a wheat thin. I'm not sure how that got there. Okay, we're getting to the end here. If you're still with me, man, you need to find better content to watch, honestly. You should go check out my main channel, Less Thought Of. It's like this, but I complain. But it's also funny. I really don't like complaining, but like, you need something sensational to start YouTube on, and then you can like make the video whatever you want, honestly. I think if I were to upload this video, it'd do pretty terrible, because like, what's the demographic of people that want to watch CPU pins being bent back into place? First off, you're not seeing it, because I'm not doing a good job of like showing you, but it's going to be people that are like, I think I just broke my couple $1,000 computer, can you help me? I'll be like, sure. And then it just turns into a rant, because like, there's not really much else to show. You want ASMR? How about that? Ooh, scratching the IHS. Ooh, 2016 AMD. Oh, there is a big scratch on it. Hold on. If you want to inspect your work here, this isn't like the be all end all, because again, if a pin came out, it would just be gone. And that's kind of hard to spot because there's already a gold contact at the bottom of each pin. But if you want to inspect your work, see how you're doing, you just sort of like shine it to the light a little bit and see like where things are kind of popping out at. And then what I like to do is look at the rows. So if you look at the rows, you can see certain ones are in line. Like this one ain't too bad. You can even look at it. Oh, I didn't realize you can look at this from the side. Everything is kind of slightly ajar. I really hope that pin that was like thinking about breaking doesn't. That would be great. I don't even know if the audio works on this camera. So yeah, there you have it. The name of the game here is, does your CPU have pins? Does your motherboard have pins? If you're AM5 or the newer Intel stuff, I believe that has a pinned socket. But these motherboards, their pins are so much more different than the CPU pins because, again, they have this like triangular design. You can bend them a lot easier, and when they take hits or damage, they just sort of like flatten, and then you can unflatten them. These pins right here are a lot more fragile, but they, as a group, as a legion, they got this like durability to them that I feel comfortable pressing on this with my thumb, and none of them will bend out of place. When you have a metal part like actually hitting this stuff, that's when you run into trouble. Same with this. If this happened to you, just relax. I wouldn't go around with anything thinner than this, especially when we're talking about salvaging a $200 motherboard or an old CPU, especially with these AM4 CPUs, and honestly CPUs in general, they do get stuck to their coolers. That's actually what happened with this one. It got stuck to their cooler. So the CPU essentially just nudged the pins, which is really annoying. Just relax, make sure you have a decent set of pliers. You might need to wait on Amazon to like order a pair, but like just wait. If you go in there with just any sort of haphazard tool, you could easily break this stuff. So again, when we're talking about these pins right here, and even these, just relax, especially when we're talking about salvaging a $200 motherboard or an old CPU. It's not a race.